In this video, we're going to be breaking down this custom keg shed that was built by Jim. This is really cool. He sent this in through email and we posted it in our community forum, which you can find linked down below. And this is just really awesome. Love seeing this. Probably our first keg shed that was built. But even if you're not making this for a keg, you could make this, this same kind of design for a different awning for a doorway. All kinds of uses for this, which is really cool. So I really appreciate Jim sharing this with us. But this is built with some wood and some EMT conduit, which is electrical tubing you can find off the shelf at Lowe's and Home Depot and different places like that. And then he also used our connectors that we manufacture in upstate South Carolina, which are these steel pieces of hardware that clamp around the conduit and allow you to join them together and create awesome stuff like this. And we'll just break down and kind of talk about how this is done. So basically, he's got this this kegerator down here that obviously the keg's in there, and then it has the two taps on it so you can get the drinks. But basically, he built this cover here for it. So, I imagine he's having parties and things outside, maybe sitting by the pool. I don't know if he's got a pool, but I just imagine hanging out by the pool and getting some drinks here. And basically, this build is meant to kind of fold out whenever they're using this. I imagine the kegerator gets put in the shed or something, and then you just have this thing that can fold out whenever they're using it. And this is really cool, and basically it looks like some wood here. And basically what's really cool about this and unique is drilled a hole there and ran 1/2-inch EMT conduit from one side of this to the other. So basically he's got the two pieces of wood mounted there, and apparently there's a piece of 1/2-inch EMT conduit that is going from one side of this to the other, and it's drilled into the wood. And that's just kind of mounted in that wood there and just resting there. And then over top of that is a piece of 3/4-inch EMT conduit kind of sleeved over top of that 1/2-inch, and that's what we see visible here. And then that's where he kind of built off of there with the maker pipe connectors. So we'll just kind of break this down. And of course he did that same design up here where there's a piece of 1/2-inch, and then he's got the 3/4-inch sleeved over top of it. But basically, first connector that we see here is the T connector, and this is grabbing on to that horizontal bar and then sending this angled piece of conduit up to the top of the actual awning part here. And basically, the T connector just joins those two pieces of conduit together, grabs onto that horizontal, and then that piece of conduit runs continuously through it. And then this piece that's going up at an angle terminates in the connector and goes up here to a similar connector, which is the 45-degree connector. And this is very similar to the T, except it's a 45-degree angle instead of kind of a 90-degree elbow. This, has the piece of conduit running continuously from the front to the back through that 45, and then this angled piece terminates inside that connector there. That's the 45-degree connector, and he just used two more of those to create this angled roof here. And then we can look, and he's basically just got this two-dimensional rectangle here at the top, and he's using a couple of different connectors to achieve that. So the first one is one that we'll recognize because we just talked about it. It's the T connector here. And basically he's got the horizontal going from front to back inside the terminating or inside the through part of the connector, and then the piece that goes from side to side is terminating in the T and going all the way to this middle connection here, which is the 180-degree connector, which joins three pieces of conduit together. One piece runs continuously through it, and then the other two pieces are terminating inside of the connector here. And you don't have to do any welding or do any drilling or anything like that when you're building with maker pipe. You just need a 5mm hex wrench to complete connections. So it's really simple to put things together like this. And then basically that piece of conduit goes to the other side, and then you guessed it, there's another T connector here, which again is just doing the same thing as before. And I think this entire thing is just mirrored, where there's another 180 in the back, and then two more T connectors in the corners there to complete that two-dimensional rectangle. But that's pretty much it for the build. That's kind of the main construction. And then we don't really see exactly how this hinges or exactly how this works, but because these connectors here are rigid angles, I don't know if he leaves those slightly loose so he can slide out the angled pieces. Because what I would imagine is you take out those angled bars and then you can just kind of rotate this down. But maybe he slides out the 1/2-inch EMT conduit that's running from one side to the other that we talked about. He might just, because that's kind of loose in there, he might just slide that out and then just rotate this down. Not entirely sure how it hinges or what it's made to do, but you have a couple of different options if you wanted to recreate this. You could use that 1/2 inch piece as I was just describing as kind of a bar to lock it in place. So you rotate the awning up, slide that bar in, and that will hold it in place there. Or, as I said, you could undo these connectors, these three here, the 345s, and then you could rotate the bottom support bar down, and then you could rotate the top part down as well, and kind of complete that rotational hinge to get that out of the way. So not really sure exactly how he does it, but a couple of different options, and just a really cool build. And of course, as the roof and this back wall there, it's that corrugated steel, and that looks like it's just secured with self-tapping screws from what I could see in the photo. Looks like through the steel into the steel tubing that is EMT conduit that the main frame is made out of. So really cool build, lots of cool stuff in here, and like I said, not something we've seen a ton of, but some great techniques you can incorporate into all kinds of different awning ideas and different things that you're making at home. So really cool. Thanks so much for sharing this, Jim. Really cool build, and we love seeing it. And like I said, I'll link this down below if you want to check it out. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.